There is a lot of mixed information out there when it comes to ethanol and how it impacts us economically. And last week we talked about the status of the ethanol industry and how reliable it is for our farmers and contractors, especially with ethanol plants. Now we tackle the consumer side of ethanol and how it impacts us every day, even at the pump. Definitely you can see the trickle-down effect when it comes to the economically what ethanol has done in Nebraska especially, right?
Well, that's right. As Nebraska sits here today, it is the second largest ethanol producing state in the nation. There's 29,000 gallons in each tank car. But we need to continue to expand the market, and that's really where the focus of the industry is today. Mm-hmm. And it's looking at blends beyond E10.
And I'm assuming you guys obviously want that to happen, or you encourage that to happen?
Well, it really needs to happen if the consumers have the choice, and I think the consumers will welcome that, because the fact of the matter is that the ethanol industry saved the average consumer over $1.20 a gallon last year in the price of gasoline because of the impact by adding additional fuel to the fuel supply. As we sit here today, ethanol is about 70 cents a gallon cheaper than the cost of gasoline. Mm-hmm. And so that if you continue to add more ethanol to the mix, the price of your gasoline will drop.
Yeah, for sure. But then obviously we want our vehicles to be able to handle it too, right?
No, you're exactly right. But if the EPA has already approved the use of E15 for model cars that are 2001 or newer, which is predominantly the vast majority of cars on the road. So that waiver has been granted, and the industry is working through the ability to offer that. And Nebraska has several blender pumps that are being offered, but we need to make sure that it's offered for all vehicles that are 2001 newer, not just flexible fuel.
And I'm going to throw this out at you too, because a while back you heard there was the finger pointing between ethanol plants and oil industry, and it's just a clash saying, you know, ethanol is the reason your gas prices are going up. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I think it's come to be expected. The oil industry looks at the ethanol industry today and says we occupy 10% of their market. And we see the opportunity with the lower cost product to get to 15% of their market. And that worries them and concerns them. And I think that's why you're seeing such a strong defensive position taken by the oil companies. And they've not only enlisted, the help of of their lobbyists and their PR machines, but you've also got, the poultry producers and the grocery manufacturers. Mm-hmm. All of those people they've brought into the argument. So it doesn't just look like big oil. But at the end of the day, that's where it is. And they're trying to maintain the country's dependence on imported oil. Mm-hmm. We think that's wrong. And we think that in the ethanol industry, these are jobs that can't be exported. And even though the price of crude in the U.S. is somewhat cheaper than it is internationally, we think long term that there will be opportunities with the price of oil the way it remains. Even in a short crop year today, we are 70 cents a gallon cheaper than gasoline. So I think obviously we look at capacity this fall, and we if the price of corn would drop, I think ethanol will get even cheaper. When we look about E15, there is no fuel that has been granted a waiver that has been tested more in vehicles, driven more miles than E15 has. And it's been incredibly successful. And the oil company will bring out studies that show that one of the engines failed. But in fact, one of the engines failed on one of the engines that didn't have ethanol in it. Okay. So that's the kind of misinformation that we have to continually sort through.
Warmer temperatures next week could kickstart planting season. We'll have your grow forecast on its way.
FFA, it just offers us all a really cool chance to get involved in agriculture. Just kind of gives a chance to network with other people who share the same interests as us, and just kind of opens up some opportunities and teaching us all about agriculture.
People don't realize just how much agriculture is, just how many businesses and different industries are involved in agriculture. They think it's just like regular farming with your cows and your corn, but there's so much more to it.